2, Cultivating Gratitude. Welcome back to the Barbara Schnarr podcast, and welcome to week 2 of our happiness journey. I'm Barbara Schnarr, and I'm glad you're here. Every week we come together to grow and glow, learning to live more fully, more consciously, as we glow from the inside out. This is week 2 of 12 of the Barbara Schnarr podcast happiness series. If you're following along in my 12-week happiness book, that's fantastic. If you don't have the book, that's absolutely fine, but you will want something to write with and to write on. If you'd like to get the book, just go to the About section of the Barbara Schnarr podcast, wherever you found this episode, and there will be a link to my 12 happiness coach sessions for coaches and individuals book on Amazon. Or you can just go to Amazon and search for Schnarr Coach. That's Schnarr Coach. You can support this podcast and find books, merch, and extras by going to patreon.com/thebarbraschnarrpodcast. Plus, you'll see the little daily motivations I post. Membership tiers are free, $5 a month, which just helps you support this podcast, and $15 a month, which gets you free downloads of my books. Pretty cool, huh? Last week you started mapping out your personal definition of happiness. Not the version sold to you, not the one shaped by expectations, but the one that actually feels right in your life. You looked at real moments, real feelings, real patterns, and now we take that awareness and give it something powerful to grow on. This week is about building your foundation. And that foundation is gratitude. Now, I know the word gratitude can sometimes feel a little overused, almost like one of those concepts that sounds nice but just gets brushed off as too simple to really matter. But here's the truth. Gratitude is not small. It's a shift in perspective that can change the entire landscape of how you experience your life. Think of your mind as a spotlight. Where you point it matters. Most of us, without even realizing it, have that spotlight aimed at what's missing, what's stressful, what didn't go right. That's not a flaw. That's your brain actually doing its job. It's wired to notice problems first. It's scanning for what could go wrong, what needs fixing, and what might be a threat, which is useful for survival, but not so great for happiness. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges. It doesn't pretend everything is perfect. What it does is widen the frame. It allows you to see more than just the problem. It brings the rest of the picture back into view. And when you start practicing it consistently, something interesting happens. Your brain begins to cooperate. It starts noticing the good moments faster. It starts holding on to them longer. It starts expecting them. And that's the shift we're creating this week. So let's make this practical. Your anchor practice this week is simple, but we're going to go deeper with it. Each day, I want you to write down 3 things you are grateful for. Not 10 or 20, just 3. Here's where most people miss the opportunity. They stop at the list. Coffee, my family, a nice day. And then they move on. Well, we're not doing that. I want you to zoom in. I want you to pick one of those 3 and explore it for a minute. Why does it matter to you? What does it add to your life? And how does it make you feel in your body when you really think about it? If you wrote down my morning coffee, go there. The warmth in your hands, the smell, that first sip that signals the start of your day, that tiny ritual that belongs just to you. When you do this, gratitude stops being a checklist and starts becoming an experience. And that's where the change happens. Now let's expand this outward a little bit. Because gratitude isn't just something you feel, it's something you can express. This week, I want you to make a point to show appreciation to one person each day. Not in a rushed automatic way. Not a quick thanks tossed into a message. Take 10 seconds and make it real. Tell someone something you appreciate about them. Be specific. Like, I really appreciate how you always check in on me. Or, thank you for being patient with me today. Or, I don't say this enough, but what you do matters to me. Watch what happens when you do this. There's a ripple effect. You can feel it. They feel it. And something shifts in the connection between you two. It becomes more grounded, more human, and more alive. And here's the bonus. When you express gratitude, you get to feel it twice. Now let's talk about the days when gratitude feels harder to access, because those days will show up. Something goes wrong, or you feel off, your energy drops, and suddenly finding something to appreciate feels like trying to spot stars in a cloudy sky. This is where we practice what I call the gratitude shift. When something challenging happens, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is there anything I can take from this? Not in a forced, toxic positivity kind of way. We're not pretending the situation is great. We're just asking if there's something useful or meaningful or something that can be carried forward. Maybe a frustrating day at work shows you where your boundaries need strengthening. Maybe a difficult conversation reveals something important about what you need. Maybe a mistake teaches you something that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. You're not denying the hard part, you're expanding the story. And this is how resilience builds. Now let's take this practice into your body and your environment. At some point this week, I want you to go on a gratitude walk. No headphones, no distractions, just you and your surroundings, maybe for like 10 or 20 minutes. And as you walk, start noticing colors, movement, sounds, temperature, the feeling of your feet hitting the ground. And with each step, bring something to mind that you're grateful for. It could be something right in front of you, the sky, the air, the fact that your body is carrying you forward. Or it could be something from your life, a person, a memory, an opportunity. Let your awareness stretch outward. This isn't about escaping your life, it's about reconnecting with it. And when you finish, take a moment to check in. How do you feel? Clearer, lighter, more present? That's the effect of stepping out of autopilot and into awareness. Now, before we close, I want to give you a few backup questions for the moments when gratitude feels out of reach. Keep these in your pocket for the tough days. What went right today, even if it was small? Did anyone show me kindness, even in a simple way? What is something in my life that I would miss if it disappeared tomorrow? You don't need a perfect day to practice gratitude. You just need a moment of attention. So here's your rhythm for this week. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each day and go deeper with at least one. Express appreciation to one person daily in a way that feels real. When challenges show up, look for something you can take from them. Go on at least one gratitude walk and notice what's around you. And at the end of the week, look back and see what changed. Not your circumstances necessarily, but in how you experience them, because that's the real shift. Next week, we're going to build on this by exploring how your thoughts shape your happiness and how you start reshaping them when they don't serve you. But for now, stay with this practice. Let it become part of your day, not something extra you have to do, but something that starts to happen naturally. I'm right here with you, and I can't wait to see what you notice this week. You can always contact me via Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Threads, which I think is my favorite, TikTok, YouTube, and you can leave messages for me right there. But remember, gratitude doesn't make life perfect. It makes you aware of what's already working, and that changes everything. I'll see you next week. I sure hope you enjoyed this episode. You can support this podcast by going to patreon.com/theBarbaraSchnarr podcast, or you can follow us on YouTube or Threads or Facebook or Insta or anywhere, really. We'd sure love to count you as one of our followers. And of course, anytime you like, subscribe, or share, it really helps me out. Thanks a lot.